Forward. Move.
Police department where he retired as assistant chief. Wow. Took on the role as director of Homeland Security and emergency management for the city of Detroit. Coordinator of the Wayne County and City Detroit Violent Crime Reduction Initiative. He tirelessly worked with partners to drive crime down. My goodness. What a magnificent life. Huh? And going back to baptism, going back to the day of baptism when Jack and Elaine said, we hope our son will make a difference. Wow. So we come here today to say thank you, capital letters, huh? Thank you, Larry. Thank you for what you did for all of us. Thank you to all of you in police profession who put your life on the line every single day for us. And we don't thank you enough for that. And I just want to say thank you today to those men and women who put their life on the line every day, and those who have sacrificed even their lives for that. So I just end saying thank you again for my being here, for inviting me, and to remind us in our faith of the gospel I read where Jesus says, as a believer, we do not die. So we recognize that Larry is here in this urn, but he is still alive. Amen. He's alive. And that when he died, back on the 11th, I believe, of January, think of the surprises he must have had of all the men and women, many police officers who gave their life and probably gave him a big hug and thanked him for following in their footsteps. So again, my great honor, and again, my deep gratitude to everyone who is in that most wonderful, wonderful profession.
Okay. Hi. Is this on? Okay. So thank you for being here today. If you knew my dad, you know he would probably be rolling his eyes right now. He would think that this whole thing is a little ridiculous, and he would much rather we all be at his house, sitting around a table, eating way too much food, laughing and talking about old times. So that is how I want to remember him today. My dad was protective, funny, and completely family-oriented. He had a presence about him. People used to say he was kind of scary at first, and honestly, that was probably true. But at the same time, he always made you feel welcomed and appreciated. Once you were family or even just around long enough, he made sure you felt like you belonged. Some of my favorite memories are weekends at his house, huge family dinners, pool parties, and even winter barbecues because he never believed grilling had a season. Holidays with him were always really special, loud, full of food, full of family, and full of love. His house was the place everyone gathered, and being there always felt like home. Oh, that's why. I forgot. He was my biggest supporter. He did not always agree with my choices, and he never pretended to. But he always led me in the right direction and helped guide me to where I needed to be. I always knew he had my back. I was so proud of him for being a sheriff. Proud, and if I'm being honest, scared too. Growing up, there were times when I did not know exactly when he would be home or when he would be picking me and my sister up. I knew he was out there protecting people and dealing with the bad guys. Sorry. That fear was real, but the pride was bigger. I knew my dad was doing something important. He taught me to work hard no matter what. He showed me that if you put in the effort and take care of yourself, you can succeed. He taught me not to depend on anyone else to do the work for me. Those lessons shaped who I am. When it came to advice, my dad was a straight shooter. He listened first, really listened, and then told you how it really was. No sugarcoating. No beating around the bush. His advice was honest, direct, and usually right, even when I did not want to hear it. He also had a great sense of humor and a few interesting hobbies. One thing we shared was a love for weird pets. He had lizards and all kinds of strange animals over the years. He even once tried to smuggle baby lizards home on a plane from Florida. They got loose and were running all over the place on the plane home. I once asked him to babysit my iguana while I was out of town. And when I came home, not only was my iguana perfectly cared for, but my dad had bought him a brand new aquarium, toys, and even a noisemaker that sounded like the jungle. He took pet sitting very seriously. I loved weird animals too, lizards, a tarantula, birds, and some of my favorite nights were what we called birdie time, where we would bring out all the birds in the kitchen and just sit around the table on a Friday or Saturday night. You remember that, Trace, right? Birdie time. Talking, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. Those moments were simple, but they meant everything. What I hope people remember most about my dad is how much he gave to the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan, the crime he fought, the fugitives he brought down, the units he helped create, and the steps he took to make our community safer. He dedicated his life to protecting others. But to me, he will always be my protector, my supporter, and one of my best friends. I will miss his voice, his advice, and knowing he always had my back. Even though he would probably tell me to wrap this up and stop talking about him, I know he would be proud of the family he leaves behind. Dad, thank you for everything, for our family, for your service, and for the life you built. I miss you more than words can say, and I will carry you with me always. Thank you.
I'm his granddaughter, and what I would like to talk about is our truths. Sometimes we agree on things, sometimes we disagree. But one thing we can all agree on is that he was a great man. It doesn't matter what relationship you had with him, best friend, dad, granddad, but it's the truth. The truth is he was a great man. I think we can all agree on that.
Thank you all for coming to my grandfather's funeral. This guy, we were very close. And I hope you all know that. And I want to thank you all for coming to this wonderful man. We were very close. Me and my sister. McKenna was the greatest sister I've ever had. And to him, he was the greatest grandfather of all time, including my other grandfathers who came to this funeral. I want to thank you guys for coming too. This guy is so good at making up jokes. He makes a great life. He always makes us feel welcome to his house. I also miss Rocky. He was the greatest dog too. He did the same thing. Yeah. He was a great dog. And I hope Ellie is doing okay back home. Yes. He's got great dogs. Only 2 passed away. But I'm happy with this dog that he's got, named Ellie. And she was a big sweetheart, just like our dog. And I love you, Papa. And always remember your birthday on May 24th. During your memorial, we'll always celebrate your birthday even when you passed away. Thank you.
Good seeing you again, Joe. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I'm also very sorry for the loss, and it's been bugging me more and more since Larry died. Because you start to reflect back to all of the times you spent together, number one, but how much time you didn't spend together, number two. So it's really great to hear from the family and sit there and smile at the inner Larry that's there, because I'll tell you the outer Larry that I worked with for 40 plus years was a great leader. He listened, he was thoughtful, and if he had a task to carry out, he did it. He got it done in a professional, sensible way. And our paths crossed a long time over the 40 years. And I can't, and think about this too, because I think when you talk about the Larry and you've heard about the leader Larry, just think back over 30 or 40 years, those of you who were in law enforcement like I was, how many lives he saved. You know, we always talk about catching bad guys, but it's a system that you put in place, and Larry was the best I ever saw of creating the system to send the troops in harm's way as safely as he could to get a result. And literally, I don't think it would be exaggerating one bit to say that there are literally hundreds of people in Wayne County in Detroit who are alive today because of the work Larry did over that 40 years. Not many people can say that. And I hope the family can really take that to heart and understand. He was not just a leader, he was a great leader. He was a guy who gave everything to make sure that we were all safer. And he never did it with an ill intention. You know how you can find people that are so pumped up to get the bad guys, they become bad guys themselves. Not Larry. Whatever the task was, he was about doing it in a systematic way that worked for everybody, that respected everybody, and got the job done. So our careers crossed paths after I said, you know, whenever I say I knew somebody over 40 years, you almost get arthritic kind of little feelings like, God, it really has been that long, and I was grown when we met. But no, a wonderful guy, a wonderful soldier, beautiful tribute here to him. And he's one of those guys, I've worked with an awful lot of people. He's irreplaceable. All of the dynamics that made Larry who he is irreplaceable. There's some strong parts out here. The person could do part of this and part of that and this or that, but he was the best, and I'm always going to miss him, and I'm always going to get stimulation and positive feedback from that relationship. God bless you, Larry. One of the best, strongest people that I ever met. Thank you.
Now, Chief of Police.
Hello, everyone. I'm Todd Bedison, Chief of Police. Jack, I got to agree with you. Larry, your granddad is the best. I got 30 plus years with the Detroit Police Department. And when Larry came to DPD as an assistant chief and brought by our own, now CEO, but then sheriff, and then chief of police, Warren C. Evans, you know, DPD, big organization, and they came from the other side, the brown. And, you know, you see the brown uniform, you see the blue uniform, and I had the absolute pleasure of being selected and basically adopted by Larry Meyer. And sometimes we made the mistake initially of saying Myers. And you would get checked really quick. Is Meyer? Absolutely. And I learned so much from him. And I've worked for many assistant chiefs over the years, but I can absolutely say I learned the most from that man right there. So much so, and he had so much confidence that he actually moved out the deputy chief who had all the patrol and communications operations, and he lifted me up and said, okay, it's all yours, Todd. And by the way, you have to manage transit too with the buses, and I did not want to let that man down. And it's another thing when CEO Evans talked about task. He was the best task master that I've ever met. And to this day, we still talk about the Larry Meyer meeting. We met on Fridays, and he had a secretary by the name of Amelia Williams. And it was this Larry Meyer task list. And it grew and grew and grew, and nothing ever came off the list unless you completed the task. But he kept adding. So your name would be next to it, and it just grew and grew. And this meeting on Fridays would start like at 4 p.m. It would go until about 8 p.m. on a Friday. We had no water. He didn't feed us, CEO. And I was like, man, I was like, it felt like I was on a bad date on Friday. Larry was loyal. Like I say, I can't say enough about him. And so just to hear the family, the inner Larry, he actually made us feel like that within DPD. He brought so much, and you know, when something is good, you can never let it go. So when Larry actually moved on and CEO moved on and from DPD, and we had the first opportunity to be able to get his expertise back, we could not live without it. And so with him coming back to run our Homeland Security Department, he was just great at it. You know, he has secured our homeland within the city of Detroit and the region. And I had never saw somebody who knew everybody, who could network with everybody. That was something that he brought to DPD, because prior to CEO Evans, as Chief Evans, and that dynamic duo coming to the Detroit Police Department, we didn't play nice in the sandbox with others. We didn't talk to anybody. We were insulated. And when you're insulated and you don't have the connectivity reaching out to the Michigan State Police and to the federal partners and to all of our other local partners, and bringing that connectivity with the county and really understanding that side, you're vulnerable. But Larry did that. He did it. He taught me how to do it. I see Eric back there. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, he adopted you too, Eric. We were all there. Who ended up Eric Jones? We all worked for him. But I could go on and on and on. But I just want the family to know that I stand here today as chief of police because of what he did for me. He was my mentor. He helped coach me up. He helped skill me up. He was a tough boss. I didn't want to let him down. I didn't want to let him down to the point where if you have all the patrol and communications 911, I'll tell you what my routine was on Friday after I got out of the meeting. I would go home, I would take a nap, I would sleep till about 1 a.m., and then I would just get up because I knew that the calls, the notifications were coming in, and I had to have Larry briefed out thoroughly by 7 a.m. in the morning so that he would be able to brief out Chief Evans. And so my wife thought, like, what is going on? But it was the best thing that ever happened, so well prepared. God bless you, Larry. We love you. Assistant Chief, you were the best, and the best to ever do it. So as the young folks say, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, and as far as Assistant Chiefs with DPD. Thank you, sir.
Task force person helped in the beginning after he wrote it.
bring him up. Ryan Reinhardt, he was his first sergeant at the task force. And now, he's chief of staff.
Yeah, good afternoon. I did not, prepare remarks, obviously, but what comes to mind is first and foremost to the family, each and every one of you, thank you. My condolences. My thank you is specific to sharing Larry with me. Christina, so Larry invested a lot in us, and I didn't really get emotional, but I gotta tell you, man, this is a special guy. He is a special guy. I mean, my mom died about 1.5 years ago, and I don't think I cried when I was at the podium speaking about my own mother, quite honestly, right? So, special guy. I'm going to continue real quick with the theme with Chief Bedison. Christina and I would often, didn't matter how successful our day was, we would end our Friday with a 2-hour Zoom with Larry, and I just pull over to the parking lot, usually try to grab something to eat, make sure I went to the bathroom before, and I'd be on a call for 2 hours. We could arrested 35 people that day and set a record in the world, and he didn't care. It's like, you're gonna hear what I gotta say, I'm gonna drive you, I'm gonna continue to motivate you. What is really, really important that I convey to all of you in the front row, though, is he never, ever, ever allowed us in that meeting without reminding me and Christina that family is the most important thing in the world. He would never let us in that call without reminding us, I don't care what you did today in law enforcement. What matters is that family at home. And so he loves you all so much. He loves you all so much. 2 more things really quickly. The county executive and I were able to jump on a Zoom with Larry his last day, maybe a day later. I know Hilton, you set it up, and I told Larry, and I believe Ursula, you could hear a lot of it, that it was, I said, Larry, you're Batman. You're just Batman. You're a hero that touched so many people's lives over all these years, but nobody knows, who was behind it. Like, they just know somehow their life got better, or somehow the justice system served them well, or whatever happened. And it's just, Larry was that guy behind the scenes the entire time. And he taught me to be that person as well. I thanked Larry in a text message, and Julie, you saw the message that I said. And as a leader, it's very difficult for us as leaders and command officers that might be in the room to recognize when you have somebody who's following in your footsteps, it's now time to give them that podium. It's now time to pass the torch. And I'll never forget when Larry came to me just a couple years in, he says, Brian, I'm going to tell you something right now. This is your team now. And I said, it'll never be my team, Larry. You've been doing this since before I was born. Maybe not literally, but pretty damn close. I'm not in church, right? So he did that, and he said, this is the time, and he turned it over to me, and he trusted in me, and he supported me. And 4 promotions later, thank you to Larry advocating and the county executive. Think about that. 4 promotions later, what's the theme here? That he kept us late on Fridays, that he promoted and invested in Eric and the chief and so many others, right? So you can just see kind of the trend that he lived through public safety, certainly first and foremost his family, and lastly by investing and making others successful. And the last thing I'm going to say is the world that I live in now as a county executive, chief of staff, I meet a lot of important people, a lot of powerful people. Never met anybody that can hold the position of being the most trusted advisor to arguably two of the most powerful people in the state of Michigan. I'm talking about the county executive, Warren Evans, and former City of Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan. I have never seen anybody be able to be the #1 guy to 2 different, men of that power, and the leaders of that power, and he did it every single day. And I still have yet to find anybody that can even really balance both of those, let alone the capacity that Larry did. So I'll look the rest of my career to find somebody like him, but I'm telling you right now, I don't think it'll ever come. It's remarkable what he did. For those 2 leaders to have that level of trust in Larry says more than anything else I can say at this microphone. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's incredible what he's done. True public servant, true family man, and I'm thankful so much for you all sharing it with me. Thank you.
God's great creation of the sun, and how Larry is one of God's great creation, a second creation of the sun. And I said, he'd yell at me for saying that sermon. Larry doesn't want a sermon, he wants a celebration. So I'm going to try the best to let my body and my face not belay or mislead you, because this is a celebration. We're celebrating something great here, someone great here. So when I start thinking about what to say about Larry, I keep thinking about me, because we were that close. And nobody would hear about you. So I started thinking about the layers of Larry. The layers of Larry. Now, when I met him, he came over from the county with Chief Evans at the time, and he said, do you work for me? I said, no, sir. I work for someone else, but I'm going to get you set up. He said, well, if you want to stick around, because I was ready to retire, want to stick around, I know police work. I just don't know DPD. If you guide me, we can do some great things together. I looked at him like, police work? You a jailer. What do you know? You work in a jail. Boy, was I wrong. The first Larry I saw was Larry the businessman. We got called into the offices of the Marshal, U.S. Marshal. We went in, and the Marshal started pontificating about how he had Larry's DPD officers and what he had done for them. And he trained them, got them sworn in, I got them cars, and I hear you're trying to take them from us. Larry said, no. He said, I won't take them. He said, well, let me tell you, Detroit is in crisis mode. And if you're telling me you're going to bring my officers, your money, your power to DPD and help us save the city, you can keep them. Sheriff sat there like, okay. The marshal said, I watched him do that with the marshals, with the FBI, Andy. I watched him do it with DA. We had so many people spending money in the city that we didn't have because we were broke, and bringing down crime. News conference said, we'll have crime down in the next 6 months. The chief said, my assistant chief is a little ambitious. But the crime started coming down so fast that some professors from Harvard came to check, and the numbers were real. The numbers were real. That was the businessman of Larry. Then I got to see Larry the husband. When he started talking about Ursula, and I met her, I knew he wasn't joking. Ursula would say, well, Larry will get mad at me. He get mad at me because when he come home, he say, I don't have any pants anymore. You wear the pants. But she wore them, and she wore them well. His life was better because he let her wear those pants because he knew who she was. She was just a great, great woman. She's the angel that made sure he took care of me and the rest of you guys. Trust me. If there was a soft side, it was because of this angel right here. Then I got to see Larry, the father. We went to the hospital, and his daughter was there having her first child. And Jack would say, I tell Jack, I knew you when you were this big. Well, how did you know me? Well, because when you were born, I was there. And he said, okay, but look at me now. I went from a baby to 15 years later, and this is Jack now. And he would sit there, he would tell me about Julie and all the work she'd done, and he started talking about Tracy being an electrician and all the wonderful things she had done. And Tracy always straightened you out. Well, you know, the last thing I did was put all these lights on the bridge, this new bridge. And when she says that to people, I put all the lights on the new bridge, they say, well, Tracy, when's the bridge gonna open? Well, that's the question. I don't know when the bridge is gonna open. I just put the lights in. I got to see Larry, the leader. When he grabbed Eric, Todd, and Kenny Williams, James Buford, Jerry O'Herb, he put us all in. I know I'm missing a bunch of people, Scott Gotti, you name it. He knew how to lead people. He led people, and like Todd said, he led people that made you want to do what he wanted you to do. And if you did it, it just made you better. He didn't do it for himself. It made you better. And we had a great time. We had a great time. When he came over from the sheriff's department, Chief Evans brought him in, and he was very trusting of me, except one time. Our office was set up, he had a private entrance and exit, would go in and out, but the main office he would have to come through, and my office on the end, and the chief would come through the other door sometime. One day the chief came through, and Chief Evans came in my office, sat down. I think Eric came in there, we sitting there chatting, talking about business, talking about life, talking about stuff. And then Larry came from his office, walked down and went to go past, and he looked at, oh, wait a minute, what's going on in there? Y'all excluded, y'all having a meeting with the chief and didn't tell me? Got a little excited, but he realized that none of us would ever do anything behind his back. When he was appointed director of Homeland Security, I was out in California. My wife had some injuries and we needed to have her in the heat. He said, come home, I got something. I said, sir, I'm pretty. He said, I said, come home, I got something. And he brought me home and we took over Homeland Security. And that's why I had Donna Northern, and Mr. Brown, and Mr. Buford, and Christina, and Captain Millhouse there sitting in the back. And we redid Homeland Security and made it respectful. Before then, money was going out the door. We had $6 million of grant money. It went down to about $600,000, and we had to manage that. And people were giving him more stuff because they trusted him. We all are living on the legacy that he created for us all. He created that legacy and let us go through on his name and allowed us to have a name of our own. But one of the best things he ever did when he came into my life, my father had just died. Larry showed up. He didn't know he was going to have that responsibility. But he taught me. He loved me. He mentored me. He took good care of me and allowed me to take care of others. I don't know why that timing happened like that, but it did. My father left, and Larry was there. We held out each other's hand. His mother got sick. I walked him through it. Next, my mother got sick, and he explained to me what was going to happen. I had to get up and walk out of his office. He said, I'm sorry. I got it together, I came back. And he explained to me what was going to happen. And like clockwork, those things happened with my mother. And we took care of each other. Larry was aware all the way to the end. He called Christine and I over. He said, you know, guys, this is my last Christmas. I said, man, nobody will hear that. We don't want to do it, whatever. He said, I'm telling you, it's my last Christmas. I'm glad you guys are here. He gave us $100 each. Like, what are we going to do with this? You know? So, but he needed to do it. He just needed to do this. So we took the $100 and a little card. And Ursula said, well, everybody else got something. You need to get something too. And we took it. And it was all good. And he knew. He said, Hilton, I'm tired. He was so aware that he put himself in hospice. He said, I'm tired. I'm tired. And went forward. I was able to go over there. Ursula called me and said, when you get off work, can you call Larry and put him on the phone? I just want him to hear your voice. I said, no. I left work and went over to the house, spent the afternoon. And I was able to call several people, like Brian and Andy and Eric, and everybody talked to him. If you could just see his face when you all spoke with him. It did me a world of good, but it did him all the good in the world. What I'm trying to share with you is we lost a great man. We're trying to celebrate. But can you imagine? I had the benefit of having two fathers. I lost them both. But it's going to be okay because he left me something. He left me with something to live for and live with. Nobody else could do that. Nobody else could do that. So what I need to tell you is Larry is already all right. You all need to be all right already. So if you don't have it together, know Jesus like he did. When he left here, he knew I'm good with my God, I'm good with my family, I'm good with my plans. He's already all right. We need to get all right already. All of us. If you want to honor Larry, do the right thing. Get yourself together. Take care of yourself, because that's what Larry wants for each and every one of us. This is a great man. He will always be in my heart, and I pray that he'll be in yours. God bless his family. God bless all of you, because you are his family. You are his family. So thank you all for being here. Thank you. He gets to do this.
I was the first, so I'll be the last. Like I said, I've known Larry since he started in St. Justin's School in 2nd grade. There's a guy back there named Gerard. He started in 1st grade, so he's always our junior man. But I just wanted to say that even when we were little, Larry was always the leader. He was he just always was like, and not in a bad way. Just years later, I'd meet somebody and I'd go, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me. I'm Mark Fields." Like, "Oh yeah, Mark Fields and Larry Meyer." Oh yeah, well yeah, that was us. I could go on and on about, he's my best friend. But I'll say this and I'll be done. We all died twice. Larry died on January 11th, but we all are reborn and live again every time our name is said. So all you family, Jack, McKenna, someday hopefully maybe you'll have children and they'll know his name. All you pals and buddies and guys from law enforcement, every time you say his name, he lives a little bit. So just remember, Lawrence, and he was always Larry. We went to Catholic school, Gerard, well, Mark's Mark, but Thomas's, he was never Lawrence, he was always Larry, even in grade school. But every time you guys say, Lawrence Bruce Meyer, Larry Meyer, he'll live on a little bit. Thank you all.